firefighter badge.
And in 5,
Sticker badge.
4, 3, 2, 1. Roll the open.
Hello and welcome back for another weekend double Kentucky Derby prep show. I'm Gerald. That's Nick. How you doing, Nick?
You got third in that Naira contest, so I made my weekend. So
Well,
Keeneland, here I come.
yeah, sounds like you had a good day so far. Made some money. You can put it back in the Derby. Too bad you didn't make it, so you could put it into Derby Pool 6.
For the best,
Derby.
I didn't do that because I would have blown it all.
Well, we've got the Santa Anita Derby now. A mile and an eighth race at Santa Anita Racetrack, and it's a reduced point race because there's only 5 entries. 75 points for the winner, 37 and a half for second, 18 and 3/4 for third, 11 and a quarter for fourth, and 7 and a half for fifth. A big field of 5. I'll go over the entries real quick. The 1 is journalism, winner of the last 3, including the San Felipe and the Los Alamitos Futurity. First time running against Citizen Bull. Rispoli rides for Mike McCarthy. This one's by Curlin.
Yeah, he was the favorite in the pool we just talked about. I think he ended up going off at 5-1 to win the Kentucky Derby 4 weeks before the Derby. So lots expected of him. He looks like he's going to go off at 1-2 based on the doubles here. He's at 4-5 currently.
The 2 is Citizen Bull, has won 4 of 5, won the Breeders' Cup Juvenile last fall, then came back to win the Bob Lewis in February. Should be primed to go. Martin Garcia rides for Bob Baffert. This one's by Into Mischief.
He's a second choice in the Derby future at 7-1. So I mean, he's 9-5. Looks like he'll go off here. So what it's lacking in depth, it makes up for in quality.
The 3 is Westwood, the gelded son of Authentic, still looking for his first win. I think he's just here to see a Derby horse up close and personal. Tiago Pereira rides for John Sheriffs.
What I had heard was Sheriffs thought that Rodriguez, who just won the Wood, was going to be here. So he put this one in to make it 6 so they would get the full Derby points. And I think he's now upset because Beza, who's his other one that we'll get to in a second, needs to win this race to get to the Derby as opposed to running second, which would have got him in.
The 4 is Barnes. He took his first loss in 3 races to journalism in the San Felipe. Went to the lead before being caught mid-stretch. Should be about the same race I'm expecting. JJ Hernandez rides for Bob Baffert.
Yeah, he was the one to beat for most of the future pools before this. Got beat, has had some poor workouts, according to people on the internet who say that the workouts are poor. I don't really know. And now you're going to get 5-2 on him. So if you liked him before the San Felipe, I would say like him now and get a much better price on him.
The 5 is Baeza. Got his first win last time in 1 mile, made special weight at Santa Anita. Before that, he was second to Rodriguez in a really nice 1 mile race. I guess if there was a question mark, maybe the distance. I don't know. Hector Barrios rides for John Sheriffs. This one's by McKenzie.
Yeah, and out of Puka, who is the dam of Mage, who won the Derby 2 years ago, and Dornock, who won the Belmont last year. So she's been producing some big-time runners, and, he may be up against it here in his 4th career race, but Sheriff has him going in the right direction and kind of sits the trip you'd want to sit in a race like this up near the pace. And what looks like going to be double-digit odds is the one that I would be saying throw in the exacta and really throw in the trifecta, because he could really blow this price up by getting, double digits in there.
Yeah, I think this could be more like a workout for journalism and Citizen Bull. I'm not sure they want to really show their cards in this race. They're both in the Derby. And with that in mind, does Barnes have a chance to steal it up front, maybe?
I certainly hope so, because I threw another $100 on Barnes today in the future pool. So that brings my total to more than I'd like to admit on YouTube, because it'll never go away. But I hope he wins this race and looks great doing it. So then he goes to the Derby and wins there for fun, and I can pay my mortgage for a couple months.
I think there's a good chance that he could steal this up front. Like I said, I don't think you're gonna gain much by beating journalism if you're Citizen Bull, and vice versa.
Yep.
You really just want to get a good run in here, get a good workout. You don't have to win. I'm starting to lean a little bit more towards the 4 Barnes, 3-1. I just don't know if that's good enough against, I don't know if 3-1 is a good enough price for me against Citizen Bull or journalism. I need more like 5 or 6-1.
Yeah, and which you just can't get with you only have 5 horses. So if there were 1 more in here or 2 more in here, there's a possibility he'd float a little bit more. The way this race is going to be ran is what always is a little bit hard to decipher, because, like you say, journalism and Citizen Bull can lose. They don't even have to run, and they're in the Derby already. So are they out here just to get the workout and trying to get some fitness into them? Are they trying to win to kind of do something more? It's, we don't know, and they don't tell us. So it's one of those that you got to kind of just decipher that they are, and to see how much money journalism's taken. I'm assuming they're going to try and win the race to go in there on a hot streak or something. So I'm going to pretend that journalism wants to win the race, and I'm going to play against him and hope that Bafferts can beat him.
I feel like journalism has more to prove here than Citizen Bull, and for that reason, I think you're right. I think journalism will try and win this race and not use it as a workout. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see. So,
yeah, I mean, it is his 5th race, right? Because he's ran 4 already, and he came back from December at Los Al and came back in March 1st in the San Felipe. So it is, 3rd off the layoff into the Derby. So they're probably going to work him pretty good. I would say bet it as if it's an honest race and they're going to run for real and not try to decipher what's going on.
Okay, well, we had a race about an hour ago, the Wood Memorial, won by
Rodriguez.
I couldn't think of losing track of all the Bafferts, but won by Rodriguez. Grande come up second. So those two are in the Derby. And just kind of a quick recap of the Derby points right now. Sandman sits on top. Then Rodriguez with 121 and a quarter, followed by Testastic, Sovereignty, Tappan Street, Final Gambit, Admired Daytona, the winner of the UAE this morning, Cold Battle, Chunk of Gold, Owen Almighty, Citizen Bull, Publisher, American Promise, Flood Zone, Flying Mohawk, Grande, Journalism, and Getaway Car would be the 18th, would be the 19th if Heart of Honor, the second place horse in the UAE Derby, comes, and then we would leave one spot for Luxor Cafe, the winner of the Japan Road to the Kentucky Derby. So that is currently the field, but we do still have this race. We have the Bluegrass, which was moved up to Tuesday, and then the Lexington, which is next week, but will have no impact on the Derby.
Yeah, the Bluegrass on Tuesday, the winner is going to jump into the top 20. Because right now Chancellor McPatrick is 19th with 35, and he's the lowest or the highest of all of that. So he'll jump over any that are right there on the bubble. And Burnham Square, Render Judgment, River Thames, and the other one I saw, East Avenue, would all, any of them win, they would get in obviously with 100 points. And if they get second, they would get in with 50 points. Is then you get to that 3rd place spot with 25 extra points, where it kind of gets into that math of Chancellor McPatrick has 35. You give him 25, all of a sudden he gets 60. But if he ends up with 4th and maybe he's out, it's, that's where the bubble kind of gets drawn. So we'll have a pretty clear picture of the Derby on Tuesday.
Yeah. And then, my angle, I always make a mark. I draw a line where the 20 horses are that qualify with points, and then I count who backs in, or gets in from scratches or whatever, and then I pay really close attention to those horses that end up backing into the Kentucky Derby. I can't tell you how many times they've shown up in the trifecta, in the superfecta, and even the exacta. I think Commanding Curve and who was the other one? Commanding Curve and Golden Sold, I think, were two that backed in last minute.
And I mean, Rich Strike is he didn't back in as much as he fell in, but he was also outside, and then even on the week of, he was on the AE list, and then got in due to scratches. So the list will still be moving in with 4 weeks to go. Even the week of, it'll be moving some. So still a little bit to go, but we'll have a pretty good picture of who's going to be there, and more importantly, who's not going to be there here in a couple of days.
I think Rich Strike was way down the AE list too. I
He
think.
was.
Yeah,
He was 22 on the 22 in the gate, but I think he was 26 or 27 before. So yeah, you
right.
definitely can do that.
All right. Well, they're moving towards the gate. I guess if I had to pick a winner, I think it's Citizen Bowl. I know journalism is the favorite in the Derby pools, but I just think Citizen Bowl is better. I think he's going to sit off the pace with journalism, and then I think he'll get the jump on journalism and win easily if this isn't a workout.
Yeah, I'm taking Barnes because I think Barnes, they want to get into the gate, so they need him to win. So that's maybe I'm wishful thinking, but I'll take Barnes here.
For journalism, he walks
all right. Well, good luck.
Here's the 2-year-old champion, Citizen Bull, and Martin Garcia. Westwood, 1 of 2 for CRK Stable and John Sheriffs. Barnes walking up in the Zidane Racing Stable Silks. And Baeza to the outside. Loaded smoothly. And they're off in the Santa Anita Derby. And a very even break. Citizen Bull is flashing his natural speed, but he's got company immediately from Westwood, and journalism backs off the top pair. Barnes will come from off the pace today, and Baeza is at the back of the field. So it is the long shot Westwood who gets to the front. Martin Garcia guides Citizen Bull to his outside now, and will run in the 2-path to the 6-furlong pole. Journalism is down at the rail, joined by Barnes. Barnes takes third as they move toward the back stretch, and Baeza is at the back. Just 3.5 lengths covers the field, and it is Westwood on even terms with Citizen Bull. They race together as one. 2.5 more lengths back to Barnes in third. Baeza is inching forward. He's getting into the race right away. And there goes Baeza after Citizen Bull, who has the lead past the 5/8 pole. Journalism is down at the rail. Extremely compact field. There's a half-mile left to go in the Santa Anita Derby, and it's the 2-year-old champ, Citizen Bull, and Martin Garcia just in front. Westwood is now backing out of it. Baeza running a big race. He's clearly in second. Journalism is hard ridden at the back of the field, and the trailer is Barnes. They're coming to the quarter pole, and Citizen Bull's been in front throughout. Baeza up alongside the challenge, and now journalism is revving up a clear-cut third. They're at the top of the stretch in the Santa Anita Derby, and here's Baeza. Baeza forges past Citizen Bull, and journalism is kicking into high gear. Journalism and Baeza in a Santa Anita Derby showdown. It is journalism just in front of Baeza. Write this down. Journalism is the best in the West as he wins the Santa Anita Derby. Baeza punched his ticket to Louisville. It was a long way back to Westwood and Citizen Bull.
He doesn't get to go to Louisville is a problem there. He only has 37 points.
Boy,
Wow.
Citizen Bull looked awkward. He looked a little awkward. I actually thought he was hurt there at the top of the stretch. It looked like I thought he took an awkward step or something, and he didn't recover, like it was just an off step. And I thought he might have tweaked something. So I don't know if they let up on him or what, but once journalism got close, I knew that Freight Train was going to probably pass Citizen Bull, but I wasn't expecting Baeza to show up there.
Yeah, that was something. I mean, Westwood running in third is really kind of all you need to know about this race, right? It's the Baffords ran 4th and 5th, just like we all expected.
Wow, this is a little surprising. I hope Citizen Bull is okay. I expected him to come off the pace a little bit and not so much take the, go for the lead, but Not good if you like
Number
Citizen
one,
Bowl.
Journalism was
Yeah,
first.
I
Five
I
Bodies
don't.
as
I
second,
don't
Three
anymore.
Westwood
The
third,
journalism,
Two
on the other
Citizen Bowl
hand,
fourth.
is he going to be able to sit? I guess it would be depending on where he rides in the Derby. I'm just concerned he's not going to get. Is he going to be the best closer in that group of, what do we have? 8 closers, 12 closers currently in the Derby? I mean, he's going to need to get the first move or
He's not a
something.
closer though. He's an EP, and he'll be, if he gets a good post, he'll be near the lead. He'll be 4th or 5th, mid pack, front of the mid pack. He doesn't run from the back, and he's such a freight train. When he gets going, he's kind of slow, but then he gets that big stride going and he just starts gobbling up ground. I thought he was going to do it much easier than he did, to be honest with you, but Baeza put a really nice fight down the stretch.
Especially for, having one win. I mean, he'd been pretty good, and they'd been talking about that one for a little bit now, but putting up that kind of effort at the end there, going a mile and 1/8 for the first time was a pretty good run for him.
Yeah, it's too bad that John Sheriffs didn't get that. What does he need? 6 entries or 7 entries?
6 would have got him 50 points, and he would have got in.
That's too bad.
Yep.
Because 37.5 is more than it is not going to do it, because there's a lot between 37 and 46.
Yeah, he's currently going to be sitting 19th, just above Chancellor McPatrick. So you assume Chancellor McPatrick's going to pass him, and you figure, 1 or 2 of the other ones in the bluegrass will pass him. So he'll be on that deep list of potentials. And if, we get 4 or 5 that bow out and 1 scratch, he may get in, but seems a little tough for him to actually get there. Look at that trifecta.
And if you have the 45, 46 points right now, you're thanking your lucky stars, because that race just helped you a lot with only journalism really staying in the top 20. Nobody else's position moved ahead of those 45 or 46. So, Well,
how much do you want Rodriguez now in the Derby, considering he's going to be the only Baffert? Well, I guess journalism will be a Baffert too, but considering what journalism just looked like, it feels like Rodriguez.
McCarthy. Journalism's a McCarthy.
Sorry, with Citizen Bowl. Citizen Bowl is going to stay in.
Well, you hope. I hope he's okay.
Yeah, I wonder if
I want to see the replay. I want to see what I thought I saw in the stretch. What really surprises me is when he started to come into the far turn, he normally separates there, and he didn't. He didn't separate from the field going into the far turn. And I was like, okay, well, maybe he just thinks it's a small field and he can win this easily, or that he doesn't need to separate from journalism. And then just something didn't look right.
Yeah. Yeah, it was at the top of the stretch or into the turn, I would have told you journalism has no chance. Right? I mean, the way that he was moving, he was last. He didn't look like he was going to start moving, and then Frank says you got to go, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, and now he's in first. Yeah. And
how do you like the dollar try for 106 in 5-horse field?
Ladies and gentlemen, congratulations to trainer Michael McCarthy on his first Santa Anita Derby. What a horseman!
That's awesome. I'm not a Baffert hater like many, but I do like to see other horses and other trainers to have Derby and through Santa Anita. It makes it a better experience. Now, hopefully we'll get 3 or 4 that will actually run against him next year. Maybe McCarthy will get 1 or 2 extra horses next year.
Yeah, no, he's had some good horses in the past. In fact, I really like Bullard.
Entering the winner's circle is Journalism,
early
a
on.
3-year-old bay colt by Curlin out of Mopatism, owned by Eclipse Thoroughbred Partners, Bridlewood Farm, Don Alberto Stable et al. The winning trainer, Michael McCarthy. And the jockey,
I wonder if to get a chance to talk to Baffert here.
I bet he won't talk to him.
But this is the one he wanted. Journalism was bred in Kentucky by co-owner Don Alberto Corporation. He's now won 4 in a row. He broke his maiden, won the Los Alamitos Futurity, the San Felipe, and now the Santa Anita.
The time wasn't so great. I think it was 1:49.
Yeah.
5-6 seconds.
But 5-horse field, you can kind of you don't get the blistering pace normally If it's a small field and they're all close, you can kind of set your own pace, which is what they kind of did.
And
Uh,
it wasn't close at the end. So
yeah.
I don't know that he could have gone much faster, considering, like you're saying, he wasn't really set up for that, but he didn't look as push button as he did last time either. Like when he ran by Barnes in the San Felipe, he ran by Barnes in the San Felipe. And this time he kind of took him in to get going. But once he got going, he actually went. But it still took him an extra 2 steps, which makes you a little nervous in the Derby when you got 20 and not 5.
Well, right now, from what I saw, I think I'm a play against journalism in
Yeah,
the Derby.
me too.
I think this might set up for a nice 10, 15 to 1 horse, to be honest with you. Someone that has a good kick that sits mid pack.
To Pan Street.
Yeah.
That's, unfortunately, I wasted a lot of money on Barnes, and I bought into the hype these last 2 ones. So I'm gonna have to swallow that one and be okay with it. And to Pan Street, I put some money on today, so it'll be okay. I had some coverage with him. And then you got I also have Tistastic, which I'm not so thrilled with. But yeah, that off the pace, like we've talked about, I don't know, a million times, you want to sit right off of the leader who's going 23-47 and then make that first move and be the first one to make the move. So there's not a lot of those in this race, I don't believe. I mean, journalism could be that one, but I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either. I think he'll end up finding a space, getting wide, and coming down the center of the track. He's, like I said, he's one of those that he kind of gets those big strides going. He'll start plugging away at you. So he'll need to be fairly close. But we'll see. I'm going to have to. Well, I'm going to stick around and see. They're going to show this replay pretty soon. I want to see what Citizen Bull did during the stretch.
As journalism wins the Santa Anita Derby.
It did surprise me that Barnes didn't break better and get closer to I expected Barnes to be on the lead. So yeah. I didn't think he broke that bad, to be honest with you.
He just doesn't seem like he's very good, if we're being completely honest. And he's had, like you said, the internet had been talking about how he had some bad workouts. So maybe he just had come out of that last race not great. Going to need some time off, and maybe he goes to the Mid-Atlantic or go to one of those like 7 furlong races in the summer. I half kiddingly said to Brittany Russell, which seems to always be the move, but I think he goes to a shorter race and runs a mile and probably is better and after some time off.
Okay, I'm hoping to see this replay here soon.
Yeah, they'll show it. They always like to do the pageantry of all that, and pretty cool that Eclipse Thoroughbred has somebody in there. They were the ones that owned. It wasn't. I was going to say Flightline, but Flightline was a West Point. But the same basic idea. They have people own 5% or so of the horse. So it's fun to have someone like a group like that getting into the Derby.
Dan H., thanks for joining us in the chat. I'm trying to look and see.
We don't encourage Dan to do anything. He's a real. I'm just kidding. Dan's the best.
Next, race 11, start of the late double. Post time in 18 minutes.
All right, let's see that replay. I want to see.
We direct your attention to the winner's circle. Once again, here's Millie Ball.
Come on, Frank.
Thank you so much, Frank. What an exciting finish to the Santa Anita Derby this year. I have Aaron Willman who's joining me and Michael McCarthy. First of all, this horse, he got the perfect setup, didn't he?
I don't know about that, Millie. He got stopped pretty good going to the 3/8 pole. We knew we'd have a target on our back today. You know, he announced his presence in the San Felipe, drew down on the rail, 2 Baffords, 2 Sheriffs. We knew that they were going to be riding us. They did. For him to overcome the adversity he did today just proves what a spectacular horse he is. Credit goes to Michael and his team. As you well know, these people live and breathe this industry, this sport, this business, morning, noon, and night. And just really thankful to him, our partners, George Isaacs, the Malone family at Bridlewood Farm, Don Alberto bred a beautiful horse, and Bob LaPenta, of course. So it's just a lot of good energy, and the horse is doing the talking for us.
Michael, you've won some really big races, the Preakness with Rombauer, of course, but you were raised here in Arcadia and have watched the Santa Anita Derby for so many years. How does it feel to win this race?
Yeah, pretty exciting. Obviously, huge day on the Santa Anita calendar, huge day on any calendar, any kind of a Derby. Obviously, the last prep before the Kentucky Derby. So to go ahead, be a part of something like this and be able lucky enough to win, super special.
What was important to you knowing that the Kentucky Derby is 4 weeks from now to see in this race?
I saw a little bit of adversity today, which I thought was very, very good. As you saw around the far turn, it took him a little bit to kind of get his feet underneath him. But once Umberto was able to wheel him outside, he started getting through the gears and picking him up through the lane and leveled off nicely and looked like he finished up well and galloped out well.
Congratulations to you all. He's a beautiful individual.
Thanks, Millie. Appreciate it.
Journalism from the rail, overcoming adversity to win the Santa Anita Derby.
All right, we're going to stay here a few more minutes to see if we can get the replay. I do want to see Citizen Bull at the top of the stretch. Not sure we're going to get it. If we don't get
Yeah,
it,
they
we'll
will.
go ahead and sign it.
Yeah, no, they always take a little bit when they do all these interviews. I don't know. I'm against journalism. I'm probably he may make me eat my words with that, but I don't think he's going to be the type that's going to be like, yep, that's what I want in the Derby. Now, he's ran the 2 fastest races with the best buyers, the best speed figures, all those things. So, maybe I'm just being contrarian for, to cost myself, but just doesn't feel like the type that was going to be the one that you want in the Derby.
All right, here we go.
And they're off in the Santa Anita Derby. And a very even break. Citizen Bull is flashing his natural speed, but he's got company immediately from Westwood, and Journalism backs off the top pair. Barnes will come from off the pace today, and Baeza is at the back of the field. So it is the long shot Westwood who gets to the front. Martin Garcia guides Citizen Bull to his outside now, and will run in the 2-path to the 6 furlong pole. Journalism is down at the rail, joined by Barnes. Barnes takes third as they move toward the back stretch, and Baeza is at the back. Just 3.5 lengths covers the field, and it is Westwood on even terms with Citizen Bull. They race together as one. 2.5 more.
They're
lengths
going at a
back to
pretty good
Barnes in
pace.
third. Baeza is inching forward. He's getting into
Yeah,
the race right
22.
away. And there goes Baeza.
22:47.
Who has the lead past the 5/8 pole.
I was a little worried about
Journalism is down at
journalism
the
here
rail.
when he tries to get wide because it looked a little awkward as well.
There's a
Yep.
half-mile left to go in the Santa
Well, and
Anita
This
I
is,
thought-
Derby.
this is
And it's the 2-year-old
this is where I would expect Citizen Bull to start
and Martin
separating, and he
Garcia
just didn't.
just in front. Westwood
I mean, he does
is
a
not
little bit
backing out of
there,
it.
but
Baeza running a big
Baeza
race.
just
He's
stays
clearly
with
in
him.
second. Journalism is hard ridden at the back of the
Oh, I
field,
see what happened to
and the
journalism. He
trailer
was looking
is
out for
Barnes.
Westwood,
They're
who was
coming
backing
to
into
the
him.
corner pole, and Citizen Bull's been in front throughout. Baeza up alongside the challenge, and now
All right, he moved pretty
Journalism
quick.
is revving up a clear-cut third. They're at the top of the stretch in the Santa Anita Derby.
You're right. He
And
was
here's
waiting for
Baeza.
Westwood to get out of the way,
Baeza
and
forges past
then he just
Citizen
went.
Bull, and Journalism
Right here is where I thought there was
kicking
something
into
wrong
high
with
gear.
Citizen Bull.
Journalism and Baeza in a Santa Anita Derby showdown.
Right
It is
there, it looked like he
Journalism
was.
just in front of Baeza. Write this down. Journalism is the best in
All
the
right.
West as he wins the Santa Anita Derby. Baeza punched
Yeah,
his
I
ticket
mean-
to Louisville. It was a long way back to Westwood and Citizen Bull.
Huh.
I think I'm wrong on journalism. I think he's good because you're right. He just can't be on the rail in the Derby because he won't be able to get that trip where he gets all the way outside like that. He's going to have to stay out if he's going to make that move. And I don't know that I trust Rispoli to make that move in the Derby, but
Post will be key.
yeah.
Post and the break. But
Yep.
bad post, and I'm totally against him.
What's a bad post? Anything inside the 6, you think?
For journalism, I think he could be from 4 to 9 and be okay. I think anything outside of 10. Where does the separate at 12?
They don't anymore. They have one.
Oh,
They just
that's
have the
right.
whole
That's
thing.
right.
Yeah.
One big gate. I think anything outside of 10, he's gonna get some pressure from the outside. That could be a problem because he's not that fast out of the gate. But we'll see.
He broke okay today, and he did. He was up there close enough. So I think if he gets out to about the 12 or 13, he'd be okay. I think he needs some cover, but I don't think he wants to be covered by 7 of them. I think he wants to be covered by 1 of them or 2 of them. So will be interesting to see what he
12
actually
minutes to post for our $5
what he
Late
does
Daily
here.
Double. Welcome back, everybody.
Let me turn this off. Okay. All right. Well, that's the Santa Anita Derby, and we covered the Wood earlier. Tuesday we'll be here for the Bluegrass, kind of a weird schedule for it because of the weather there in Keeneland, or
Yeah,
Keeneland,
Lexington. Yeah.
Lexington. But we'll be there. I want to say it's around 2:30 Pacific time, something like that.
Yeah, almost 3 o'clock according to time form. So I should be able to even hop on.
Okay, great. Well, not much change in the Derby standings from this race, but I think that's good for me as far as my Derby future pools go. But
Yeah, it threw some of my thoughts of Citizen Bowl and Barnes kind of out the window, and I played a little bit heavy through them to win that future pool. I had some I had Trust in Bob money that I've now burned. So that's what am I going to do? Not
Yep.
play it.
All right. Well, Rascal wants some me time, so I better cut it off here. So that's it for Weekend Double. Join us Tuesday for the Bluegrass. We'll see you then.